What if I told you that a House Democrat just referred to, quote, President AOC? In a normal, insane world, the story there would be that not only is AOC planning to run for president, but the Democrat Party apparently is cheering her on. Well, Democrat Representative Jim Himes decided to leapfrog all of that. No, that story wasn't big enough. He implied here that AOC wants to kill MAGA Republicans. Now, you might not hear it on the surface, but we'll break this down on the other side of the clip.
They're not terrorists. They may be drug runners. We don't know that for sure. But just because you call somebody a terrorist, we call lots of people terrorists, doesn't mean that the military is authorized to go after them. And if no other reason, and look, I talked to an awful lot of people who, despite the fact that this is illegal, are comfortable with lethal action against purported, maybe, cartel members. You know, where does it stop? Do we now start executing drug dealers on the corners of Brooklyn? Where does it stop? If all of a sudden the government, without telling anybody anything, can take this kind of lethal action just because they've decided that they've got the right to do so. If Lindsey Graham and other Republicans want to go the route of saying it's okay to kill people illegally, just so long as the American public supports it, the American public needs to really think that through. You know, there will be a Democratic president someday, and all my MAGA friends who are, cheering on these illegal killings need to imagine who gets killed when President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that it doesn't matter what the law says. She's going to do what she's going to do. So look, I work here, so I understand the complete abnegation of principle and a complete thumbing of the nose at the rule of law, but I would hope that people like Lindsey Graham might not go that path, because it's a very, very dangerous path for this country to go down.
Why should Republicans be afraid of who President AOC is going to kill unless she plans on killing MAGA Republicans? Please make that make sense. Like, what President Trump is doing is targeting drug dealers, cartels, gang members. And yes, there's an argument that can be made about process, and we'll get to that later in the video, but it's not as if Democrats have anything to fear with what's going on close to Venezuela. Like, if AOC, God forbid, ever became president and she decided to use this sort of new legal theory that President Trump is testing out to go after foreign enemies, why would Republicans be afraid? Unless AOC is planning on declaring MAGA Republicans terrorists. Like, what other conclusion can you go to there? Why would Republicans be afraid of AOC using that power to go after people who would do us harm? It just makes no sense. And it really is, I think it was a slip of the tongue that gives us insight into what he's thinking there. He could have stopped when it came to the process, but no, he had to take it a step further. And if anything, I think he just poured fuel on an environment that's already hot with rage. Now, the Democrats can cry all they want about these boats being bombed, but I actually took a look at Venezuelan newspapers. This article was originally in Spanish, and I had it translated to English. Falcon fishermen fear government persecution more than Trump's bombings. While the United States maintains a powerful fleet of warships in the Caribbean and has bombed nearly a dozen boats, mostly Venezuelan, fishermen on the coast of Falcon State face not only the threat of a potential foreign attack. Since September, they've been victims of persecution, theft of their equipment, and arbitrary arrests by Venezuelan state security forces who attempt to portray them as drug traffickers. And the entire article goes down about how local fishermen who down there scrape by to make a living, they barely have money to repair their boats. I mean, it just really is shabby, and you can tell it's just a different standard of living down there. But they're not afraid of being bombed by President Trump. What they're really afraid of is the Venezuelan government going after them. So if what President Trump is doing is widespread and as, terroristic as what the Democrats are saying, then these fishermen would be terrified. But quite frankly, you look at all these reports coming out of Venezuela, and they're more afraid of the Venezuelan government than they are of President Trump bombing them. Now, what's interesting about this is Democrats are crying about process, but believe it or not, President Trump has actually gone by the process, because what he's done is he's declared that these gangs and cartels and drug dealers are terrorists. So usually you have to be in a state of war to be able to order these types of strikes, but because he's declared them terrorists, that's why the military is able to do this. What's interesting about this is it's not just the Democrats. There have been some Republican defectors on this. Rand Paul is one of them. And one of the interesting things is that when Obama actually carried out a drone strike that killed an American citizen, guess what? Rand Paul defended Obama's drone mistake. This according to NBC News, and you saw it in a whole bunch of other stories. Now, even though I think there's a bit of hypocrisy here, I do think that there is an argument to be made when it comes to process. Now, the Representative Jim Himes, instead, what he did was, well, AOC is going to use this and you guys need to be terrified. To me, that's a threat. Why would I be terrified if the president is going after terrorists, real terrorists, or drug dealers, cartels, like things that would actually cause us harm? Like, that wouldn't scare me at all unless she started using that power here domestically in the United States and the Democrats perverted and twisted maybe what a domestic enemy is. That could happen. And I believe, to me, that's what it sounded like he was implying there. But Rand Paul, he actually went on Fox News this past weekend, and he was talking about the process behind all of this. Let's take a look at what he said and revisit at the end.
One of the interesting things is one of the recent explosions, a bunch of the people on the boats died, but 2 people survived. Did we detain them and check them for drugs or drug residue? Did we gather the evidence from the wreckage and then prosecute them? No, we just said, oh, well, we're going to send you back to your country. So I really think that you cannot have a policy where you just allege that someone is guilty of something and then kill them. The reason being that we interdict ships all the time off the coast of Miami, off the coast of California, and the Coast Guard statistics say that about 25% of the boats that we stop to search don't have any drugs. So if 1 out of 4 of the boats don't have drugs on them, what kind of person would justify blowing up people when 1 out of 4 boats may well not have drugs on them?
So don't do it again. Is that the message?
Well, what the message is that, and this has been fought in the Senate, will be fought again next week, is you do get to kill people when you're at war. So if we are to be at war, the Constitution says Congress has to vote for a declaration of war. I'm not for declaring war with Venezuela. I despise socialism, communism, authoritarianism, but I'm not in favor of starting a war with Venezuela. If you have a war, you can kill the enemy. If you don't have a war, you have international crime and you have to treat it as such. And really, the seas, even in international waters, there have been rules of engagements for over a century, and they don't involve blowing people up without first asking them if they will allow to be boarded to be searched.
Now, what he said is 100% true. However, even though we are not currently at war with Venezuela, that goes back to the original point that President Trump designated those groups as terrorists. And so under the law, President Trump is allowed to do this because he's considering them terrorists. And so, he's actually not broken anything here. As far as international laws and all of that, all of this has happened in international waters. None of it, sure, it's close to Venezuela, but from what I understand and from my research, it's not actually in any waters that belong to Venezuela. On top of all of this, the Democrats are claiming that the Trump administration has provided absolutely zero context, but even CNN is reporting Trump administration says it's given 7 classified briefings to Congress on U.S. military boat strikes. On top of that, there was a separate Politico article, and basically the point of the article was the reason Trump is really doubling down on this is because it's a campaign promise he made and he wants to fulfill his campaign promises. But in that article, they actually confirmed this. In the middle here, in addition, the official said lawmakers have been briefed several times since the strikes began in September, including members of leadership and key committees in charge of foreign affairs, intelligence, and the military. And that administration is, quote, working through the additional requests for information from the Hill. So yes, even though that information hasn't been made public and shared with us, it is being shared with the appropriate people on Capitol Hill. So for the administration that promised transparency, for the administration that promised communication, that's exactly what they're doing. And Democrats can argue, oh, President Trump's breaking the law. No, he's following the law. He's just doing things, as we all know, maybe differently than they've been done before. But that doesn't mean illegal. It just means, hey, why not designate them as terrorist groups? And guess what? There are still checks and balances. There are still the courts. The Democrats could challenge this all they want, but they're not doing it. And I think it's because they know that they would lose. Now, there is only one aspect of this story that has me concerned, but before we get into that, I would like to acknowledge Jeremy 2001 Happy, Jenny Renkin, the Rick Silver, and Sherry Miller. Good to see you, Sherry. As the members of today's Governor's Club, these are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am so glad that you enjoy, and I appreciate your support. Now, to be very clear, yes, I'm still happy that I voted for President Trump, and I still support him. The only reason I'm prefacing that because whenever sometimes I say something critical, some people say, Daniel, you're turning, or Daniel, who paid you? No. I am truly an independent. I am not a registered Republican, and I will call balls and strikes how I see them. And that's what I do on this channel, and that's what I've always done. And so I'm not turning. I haven't been paid to say this. Look, I was raised, like, my formative years were during the Iraq War, and we went into that. I was in 7th grade when that started, and I was one of the few people in my class who turned on the TV every night, watched the news. Like, most kids at that time did not watch the news. It was weird, right? And I remember being so gung-ho, we're gonna take down, Saddam Hussein, and we're gonna find all these weapons of mass destruction, and we're gonna make sure that 9/11, like, I was really bought in. And so for me, where I'm coming from is, again, my formative political years were, we were sold this lie, quite frankly, that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We entered these forever wars. Tons of people older than me, and quite frankly, even some of my classmates went and served overseas. I mean, it was just needless violence and bloodshed. And so all of that to say, the one part of this story that has me a little concerned is this from The Guardian: CIA playing most important part in U.S. strikes in Caribbean. Sources say exclusive. Sources say the agency is providing real-time intelligence collected by satellites and signal intercepts. And they actually go on and design how all of this is being used to go after those boats with drugs close to Venezuela, and basically how the CIA's intelligence is designed in such a way to not ever see the light of day, even if, the Trump administration is dragged into a court of law. Like, that is still going to remain confidential and classified and will not be seen by anyone. And if I remember correctly, the CIA was behind the intelligence saying that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. Now, to be very clear, that is not me throwing doubt on all of this. That is not me criticizing what the administration is doing. That's me saying that personally, I'm neither cheering this on, nor am I one of the Democrats saying, hey, Trump shouldn't be doing this. I am a true neutral. Look, I believe President Trump has earned my trust, and for me, it's just, I'm not going to criticize him. He says that these boats have drugs and drug dealers and dangerous cartel members and all of that. Okay, I'm going to trust him on that, but I'm not going to proactively cheer it on like I did the Iraq War just because I've been burned by the CIA and supposed CIA intelligence. All of that is just my opinion, my experience, and the only reason I'm sharing this is because in a few videos I get comments, quite frequently actually, where people are like, Daniel, you say you're an independent, but I've never heard you say anything negative about Trump or the Trump. Well, no, here it is. Here are like some of my doubts. It's not I'm going to proactively criticize him either, or blindly criticize. It's just saying, hey, I'm maybe jaded, and I'm not going to just take the word of any administration, by the way. Like, I'm not holding Trump to an unfair standard here. I would say this I would have said this under Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and if a future administration did this, I would like to think that I would be consistent and not a hypocrite and have the same standards. So that's just where I am, and I'd love to know where you are. So what do you think about these boat strikes in Venezuela? Are you 100% on board, cheering them on, think, it's great? Are you sort of where I am, where you mostly approve, but you just want more transparency, and you get that it's being shared with Congress, but it is different when there is that filter, right? Or are you on the other side with the Democrats, where you just don't like it at all and you think it's a bad idea and a bad precedent? Let me know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below. Now, we do have a Kitten guessing game. I know, so for those of you who've been with the channel for a while, I did this months ago. So when I was trying to break 100,000 subscribers, I had everyone guess the names of my dog and my cat. So this right here is Drogon. He's named after the best dragon in Game of Thrones. And then the handsome tuxedo cat who usually sleeps here, his name is Matt Trim. He's named after my favorite character in Wheel of Time. Well, I do have a brand new Manx kitten. I guess he's not brand new anymore since I've had him since April. But we were going to do a guessing game. I got busy, forgot about it, and well, we are going to wrap it up this week. So, guessing name clues: I am known to leap, but I'm no frog. Hollywood once called me Dennis. Techies call me Grace. Artists call me Edward. I carry grain, but I'm no farmer. So I was speaking with one of my friends, and because it's been so long, I kind of lost access to Well, I feel bad about it. Anyways, we're going to do a brand new, even if you entered before, I have a website set up where you can put in your guess and you can put in your email address. And that way, I'm only asking for your email so that if you win, I can send you a gift card. So there are going to be 5 $50 gift cards, and they are actually going to be your choice. So for the winners, I'm going to email you and say, what gift card do you want? I was initially going to do Amazon, but I get not everyone uses Amazon or not everyone goes to Starbucks. So I want it to be $50 that you will actually use. So I'm going to leave a link down in the comments below. I'm going to pin it as the number 1 comment. All you have to do is put in your name, your email. Again, that's just for me to reach out to you if you win. And then put in your guess for my new Manx kitten's name. And you actually don't see him a lot in videos, because when he was super young, he was like really active, and now he sleeps all the time, and he's very active, like early in the morning, very active at night. Like he goes absolutely crazy, of course, when the camera's off. But if you want to enter the giveaway, it's going to end Friday at 12 noon Eastern time, and I will do the drawing that afternoon. So again, anyone can enter. 5 $50 gift cards will be given away this Friday to one of you if you did enter in the past, because I said what you could do before was like comment it down below in the comments or email me. This time it's going to be an official form. So even if you entered before, you're not going to be automatically entered to this one, just because I lost access to the list and we have so many new people. So I figured this was going to be the fairest way to do it. Sorry, I like slept on that one, like dropped the ball, but hey, I hope this makes up for it, and we'll do the name reveal during the giveaway. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.